With the news and details, I am Norman Gobin. Here are your stories. Patient found dead in Georgetown Public Hospital washroom. At approximately 11 hours today, October 7th, the body of a female patient at the Georgetown Public Hospital was discovered hanging in the ward's washroom by one of the staff. The Ghana Police Force and the family of the patient were immediately notified by members of the hospital's management team. A team from the hospital has been identified to support the family of the patient and provide all the necessary information to assist the GPF in their investigations. Guyana to be removed from UK's red list from Monday. The number of countries on the UK COVID travel red list will be cut from 54 to 7, the government says. South Africa, Brazil, and Mexico come off the red list, which requires travelers to quarantine in an approved hotel at their cost for 10 full days. Transport Secretary Grant Shapps said the changes begin on Monday and mark the next step in opening travel. This latest move will be seen as a boost to the airline industry and families separated during the pandemic. Panama, Colombia, Venezuela, Peru, Ecuador, Haiti, and the Dominican Republic remain on the red list. Gas prices dropped to $1.98 and diesel at $1.85. Senior Minister in the Office of the President with responsibility for finance, Dr. Ashni Singh, has announced that the government will be further reducing the excise tax on gasoline and diesel to ease the domestic impact of the continuous rise in the world market price for fuel. The government in February had reduced the excise tax rate on both gasoline and diesel from 50% to 35%. Even with that adjustment, oil prices continued to rise steadily on the world market, moving from over US $60 a barrel to over US $80 a barrel at close of trade on October 5th, 2021. This steady rise in the world price has had a resultant effect, with prices rising on the domestic market also. Minister Singh announced that the government will be lowering the excise tax rate on both gasoline and diesel from 35% to 20% with immediate effect. And in the region, urgent reforms needed to boost growth and prevent another lost decade in Latin America. The scars from the COVID-19 crisis will take years to fade if countries in Latin America and the Caribbean don't take immediate steps to boost a lackluster recovery from the pandemic, with poverty now at its highest level in decades, according to a new World Bank report. Recovering growth, rebuilding dynamic post-COVID economies amid fiscal constraints. Although regional growth is projected to recover at 6.3% in 2021, with vaccination accelerating and COVID-19 deaths falling, for most countries it will fail to completely reverse the 6.7% contraction last year. Furthermore, growth forecasts for the next 2 years sink to below 3%. Returning to the low growth rates of the 2010s and fueling fears of another lost decade of development. And internationally, a woman has suffered extensive burns after trying to rescue her dog from a hot spring in Yellowstone National Park, authorities have said. The woman was pulled out of the water by her father and taken to a regional hospital with significant thermal burns across her body. The 20-year-old woman's dog jumped into the near boiling water and later died. Authorities are investigating the incident, the latest in a string of burnings at the park. In a statement, the U.S. National Park Service said that the woman, a resident of Washington State, exited her vehicle to chase after her dog on the 4th of October. She entered a thermal hot spring known as the Maiden's Grave Spring to retrieve the dog, which resulted in significant thermal burns between her shoulders and feet. The temperature of the water at Maiden's Grave is 200 degrees Fahrenheit, according to park officials. A U.S. judge has temporarily blocked a new law in Texas that effectively bans women from having an abortion. District Judge Robert Pittman granted a request by the Biden administration to prevent any enforcement of the law while its legality is being challenged. The law, which prohibits women in Texas from obtaining an abortion after 6 weeks of pregnancy, was drafted and approved by Republican politicians. The White House praised the latest ruling as an important step. Texan officials immediately appealed against the ruling, setting the stage for further court battles. And in sports, a Saudi Arabian-backed €300 million takeover of Newcastle United has been completed. The Premier League has approved the takeover after receiving legally binding assurances that the Saudi state would not control the club. Instead, the Public Investment Fund, which will provide 80% of the funds for the deal, is seen as separate to the state. This is despite the Crown Prince of Saudi Arabia, Mohammed bin Salman, being listed as chair of PIF. The sale went through after the deal passed the Premier League's owner and directors test. The takeover brings to an end Mike Ashley's 14-year spell as Newcastle United owner. Fans gathered outside Newcastle's St. James Park Stadium on Thursday to celebrate the takeover being approved. And in some IPL news, Kolkata Knight Riders all but confirmed their place in the Indian Premier League playoff with a one-sided 86-run win over Rajasthan Royals. In the final group stage game for both teams, Subman Gill, 56 off 44, top scored as KKR posted 171 for 4. Royals managed a dismissal 85 all out in reply, with Shivam Mavi taking a 4-21. Mumbai Indians can still mathematically leapfrog KKR into 4th place, but will need to beat Sunrisers Hyderabad by a record 171 runs on Friday. Royals end the season in 7th place, and their wait for a second IPL trophy, having won the inaugural competition in 2008, goes on. And that's the news at this time. Special credits to Guyana Chronicle, Newsroom, iNews, Caribbean News Service, Caribbean News 360, BBC and CNN. You can visit www.realfmgy.com for these stories and more.